Okay everybody, it's time for the question video, which we'll see how this goes. I just came from a wedding. Anyway, I'm not going to answer all of them. We're just going to go unscripted to see what happens. What's your favorite deck? I'm going to have to say the Madison Rounders. Why? As you can tell by my box, these ones are well loved, but they just have a simplicity about them. The handling's really nice. The stock's a little bit smoother than most things produced by Illusionist. That's one thing I like about them. They're very traditional, which I like, since the standard would be your bikes. So they really harken back to that with really similar faces, a little bit more muted colors, and then just a slight update just to make the kings and queens a tiny bit more human. And its crowning jewel would have to be its ace of spades, which is this really wonderful caveat emptor, let the buyer beware in Latin. Generally the principle that the buyer should inspect the product, and I inspect this one and say, hey, good job Daniel Madison. I do really like these decks though. Really simple, but very, very bold at the same time. Next, favorite deck brand. I really like Theory 11. I know my favorite may be an Illusionist deck. Theory 11's cards seem to be consistently just really, really nice. I'm not big into the smoke and black decks generally, so I'm not as much, and big fan of those. But for cards, I really like Theory 11. Magic Company. I don't, let's say Magic Geek. I kind of like Magic Geek. That's where I pretty much only get sponge balls from them, but Chris Ballinger cracks me up, so. Favorite magician. This is a hard question. There's a few that I really like. One I really like is Levent. Levent, who's a stage comedy magician. He's really very funny, but if you look up Levent's Manipulation Act from like a while ago when he used to work on cruise ships, it's some incredible stuff. And those are the kind of acts that are just so cool, because there's like 100 tricks in a few minutes, and you can watch it 100 times. It's really, really awesome. Another favorite of mine is Johnny Ace Palmer. I just really like the way he does magic. You may have seen him. He got an FISM award for close-up magic. Really, a lot of small things. But just his stage presence is really different, because he's so quiet and just sort of, just looks like a guy who put on a nice suit and went out and did some magic. So, what is the best card trick as far as reactions for non-magicians? This is interesting. I'm going to avoid the question in a way, but answer the question in a way. For non-magicians, I think it has to be visual, but the main thing is what's interesting to me is I found that the favorite tricks for some people it really depends on who they are. There's amaze magic and there's amuse magic. There's sort of two different categories. So there's some people who they just love it when it's like, bam, there's the card, whoa, how does it get there, blah, blah, blah. There's some people who are like, how did I name any number, and you count down any card, like an any card at any number routine. Some people, so that's the amuse and confuse magic, sort of. So the thing is, it's going to be different for every single spectator. And what you need to be able to do is say, what does this spectator react to the most? I have one friend, I do a key card trick. I look at the card and the bottom, and then I can just go through and pull out their card with any deck, and I've done it with the deck she's brought, and it just like, how does he do it? It's like her favorite trick. She just thinks it's just crazy, and which is interesting. That's like her favorite, and just one of the first 5 tricks I learned. So that's going to depend, and really most of it is performance. For a lot of people, like, you could have great content in a public speech, and people say, it's okay. Whereas if somebody who's really passionate about something people didn't really care about before, they'll say, wow, great speaker. So that's the same exact way with magic. It's how you perform it. I don't perform it to get reactions. I just want to have a conversation. That's really what I want to do. Make a conversation, entertain some people. I'm not there to get crazy reactions. Reactions are great, but that's not really my trophy bank. Next, you change the spectator's card into a different card without him or her noticing and hand it back to them to hold. How can you change, we'll just do a double lift, their card into a different card and give it back to them? There's a few things you're going to do. This is all going to be psychological. Alright, so I'm going to change this card, the Queen of Spades, into this card, the Nine of Hearts. I want to hand it to them for a little bit. This would be if I was working without a table. You have a table, you set it down. If you don't have a table, one thing you can do, take your card box, set it on the ground. Say it's all the way on the ground, and say, here, we need to store this. I'm just going to set this down here for a little while, all the way on the ground. Now, people are not going to be, I wonder if that's a real card. They're going to bend all over there, way down there, and miss what you're doing, miss the magic. Probably not. That's one thing you can do. But if you actually want to put it in a spectator's hand, all right, could you hold out your hand really flat like a table for me? And now, what I want you to see is I'm going to take the deck, and then you're going to have to immediately distract them. So that you're giving them a different card. You're not giving it to them to just hold. I mean, yeah, I want to see what it is. You can also do this, where you can turn over the card, leave the card below it face up, and say, I want to give you this card to hold. Actually, yeah, why don't you hold it? And then you can make the switch on the second pass. And one thing you could do is just have them sandwich it, something like this. Get them in this position psychologically. Now, I would almost never do this. Just to be honest, probably wouldn't do it. If I wanted to say, I want to let you do all the magic, I'm doing an ambitious card routine. Take their card, say, here, look, I want you to do this for me. I'm not going to do anything. And I switch the card there and I say, push it in. Now take the top card. And that's a very, very strong effect to them because they touched pushing the card in. They took the top card. So, if you're wondering how to do that, though, it's going to need to be psychological. So, and it's always going to be risky. When it's out of your hands, it's risky. Sometimes when it's in your hands, it's risky. Anyway, next, what got you started in magic? Okay, I was 12 years of age. The year was 2006, I think. And we moved into this house where we're living now, and we were unpacking stuff, and I found the Dangerous Book for Boys, which I'd gotten for my birthday or Christmas. I was, just thumbing through it, saw a few magic tricks. And literally, I saw the French drop, basic palming, coin magic was pretty cool. Hopped on the internet, Expert Village on YouTube, which Expert Village is designed to make you watch ads. But I learned some things through there, some basic tricks, found illusionists, learned their first 5 tricks, which are still awesome tricks in the repertoire, besides maybe the fork bend. So that's what the Dangerous Book for Boys. How about that? Teach you how to run away and build a go-kart out of baby carriages. He also asks, I'm looking for sources to learn, see what materials, videos, books, etc. would you suggest to different levels of card magicians in order to improve themselves? I never paid for any magic knowledge. I paid for props. I didn't rip any DVDs or anything like that. I learned them on YouTube. I looked on YouTube, learned the basics, then you start trying to figure out your tricks. Just right now, if you're trying to learn to figure out tricks, I remember I was so excited when I figured out Autograph by Justin Miller. And I was like, whoa, and a friend of mine, he figured out independently too. It's one you can figure out. They give you the entire performance without, hiding moves from the camera. And then from there you go. I just learned a trick, saved myself a few bucks. That's legal. He doesn't own the idea. You just can't pirate that video, that physical video, the design that they have put into that cinematography. So, books, videos, and stuff like that. I looked at a few books. My brother gave me an encyclopedia of card magic. Books, the tricks in books never seemed to be that great to me. It's hard for me to say, oh, I really want to learn that. Looks amazing. I get some interesting ideas. They never seem to be that great though, and if they are ones that are good, they're just the basics that you can just learn online anyway. So video is the way to learn magic. Definitely the way to learn magic. So I don't have any suggestions there. I'd say learn to figure out tricks. That's what I did. That'll really help you. You want to try figuring out tricks on your own? Mute the sound. Some videos you can do in slow-mo. Watch them repeatedly. Work backwards. There's a lot of different things you can do to help you learn, especially card magic is you can crack those cases. Question. Have you ever used magic to pick up girls? If yes, do you consider that picking up girls using magic is cheap? Yes? No. No, actually, I don't really have any interest in picking up girls. I'm more into long-term relationships. I just want to settle down and get married with one person forever. So, no, I use magic to meet people though. It's an excellent, excellent tool to meet people. You meet somebody you don't really know what you have in common. You like magic? That's what you can do. So, that's a great way. That's a great way to meet people. And that's what I use it for a lot at college. What is your go-to effects? Go-to effects. The first thing is, I'll use this for my first trick, I'm going to start off with a little warm-up. And it's really hard to beat card to mouth. Do a double lift, put it in the middle of the pack, or, I don't know, whatever. And say, hey, why don't you push this one, why don't you push that one in? And then, right here, you're going to put it in your mouth. Gets people really well. If you're doing it for a group, to start off, I just like to do one trick for just one person. Pick somebody out and say, I'm going to ask you to help me. Get close to them. The rest of the group can even watch you put it in your mouth. Doesn't matter. It's a lot of fun because you tricked that one person. Also, the opener trick that I teach, the opener, definitely a starting out one, has a nice flow. It has a great escalation. There's 3 points of magic within the routine itself. So maybe I'll put those links in the description. But those are my go-tos. Focus of the future of my channel. I'm kind of curious about how this channel is going to go in the future because, for one thing, I know I'm going to have less and less time as I become an adult. Magic is not going to be... Magic is just a little social thing that I do. It's not my main hobby, really, at all. So the future of the channel, I hope to do some tutorials. I want to just mainly be doing tutorials. I'd love to create more tricks, but I know that's just not what I'm gifted at. But and definitely I'm happy with having the amount of magic knowledge I have now for the rest of my life. I'm not one of those people who has to figure out the trick, which is weird. Sticking to just card stuff, or expect coins, SpongeBob minimalism. I'd really like to teach my SpongeBob techniques. I have a few original things that I do with SpongeBobs that I've never seen anybody else do. They probably do it, but there's some sponge magic. It's just awesome. The first time you see sponge magic, it's incredible. From then on, it's a little less incredible, but the first time, it's awesome, really awesome. Will I teach manipulation stuff? Not qualified, no. If you mean like card manipulation, like that stuff, yeah. My card manipulation is very good. And if you mean like any fancy flourishes things, that's not my skill set. I want to teach what I'm skilled at doing. What was my opinion on the World Cup? World Cup is awesome because it brings countries together. That's really cool. It also brings, like, within America, like, we have a unity over the World Cup. You don't have unity over the Super Bowl. We don't really have unity over the Olympics. It's like, you more for Phelps, or who do you like in the Olympics? Like the flying tomato. Okay, maybe we all love the flying tomato. But in the World Cup, it's like, you don't ask who you're going to say, yeah, we're going for the Americans, And if they're out, then well, hey, kind of like Argentina or whatever it is. So I think that's really cool. I'm glad that I kind of like the level of seriousness we take it at. I don't want to take. I play a lot of sports, but I'm not competitive, which is also strange. But for me, it's like, hey, keep it fun. Keep it fun. But I think the World Cup's pretty cool. Planning on doing more contests and giveaways. You put the idea in my mind. I might just do like a small giveaway now and again. I probably won't do any more big contests. That was my giving back, because honestly I've won like 20 decks or something on doing contests. And hey, I want to give back to the Magic community. I was glad I could do that. But next contest will be a lot more specific, definitely. So, my favorite color? Probably green, naturally. My favorite food is egg curry. My mom grew up in Bangladesh as a missionary kid, and she makes a mean egg curry. That's what I asked for my birthday. It's incredible. Opinions on Daniel Madison and Justin Miller. Daniel Madison, he kind of cracks me up. People who take themselves, act like they take themselves seriously. You know, I could shoot myself in black and white. I am Daniel Madison. You know, we all wish we had his voice. But the interesting thing about Madison is like he loves technique. He's a beast at gambling techniques. Justin Miller, you know, a little bit more charismatic person in my mind. They're both great magicians. They're both magicians that work today. That really, they work in the magic today. That's how we do things, and they've influenced it a lot. And I love Madison's decks. I like all of his decks though. Well, you know, 80% of his decks. What's the best card magic trick you know? Can you perform it? Best card magic trick is Ricky J's card manipulation effect. It is the best. It is definitely the best. His is great. I like mine better because I don't need a camera cut. I have an original setup for it that's pretty hard to crack. And it's just, the effect is something you don't get too often. So anybody on Earth will be impressed with that trick, more or less, if they understand that things don't come into order from chaos. When I hardly ever perform. So, how about that? But that's the best. Hey, just wanted to say I love all of your videos. Thanks, DDCC4455. Favorite effect to perform? My favorite effect, I like... Sponge balls make me nervous, but seriously, sponge balls, they're awesome. Top 5 YouTubers. I don't like a lot of the main YouTubers. Probably the only ones I really like is, I like Rhett and Link a little bit. I don't think they're that funny. They're sometimes a little bit immature, but I just love watching their friendship. They just have a great friendship. Two guys with families decide to do YouTube for a living, which is pretty cool. I also really like 52 Cards with Assad. That's a great one. Great techniques there. Doesn't worry about being excited. He just does solid magic. Andy Field Magic, another favorite. I really like Andy Field. And teaching strong magic, solid techniques that are going to work is a great emphasis. And you know, see him do magic on the street. He's really good too. Disturb Reality is, you know, he's a case. I mean, but his documentary is really a bit inspired. It's up there with like Never Say Never. Also, I like Ravi Zacharias. I like Ravi Zacharias. And Miss Mag 822, because we all love Miss Mag 822. He's great. He's a really nice guy. He's supported my channel some, which I really appreciate. How do you approach people when doing magic? Also, what's your favorite single card production? Approach people saying magic. Doesn't matter what you say as long as you say something, according to Disturb Reality, which is true. Just say, hey, do you want to see a magic trick? I know David Blaine says, let me show you something, I want to try an experiment. Do you want to see a magic trick? That's what Justin Miller says when he goes up to people. I've really only done street magic like once. And at school, I always do it through friends usually. People, you know, will request it. And at school, I only do magic on request when I'm at college. I don't really bring it up. People want to see it, then okay. Sometimes I say no, I'm not going to do magic right now. Even if I have cards with me, I just can't. So, but that's just me. What's my favorite single card production? The one I use the most is Top Pop. One that has been invented way before my time. Came to it on my own though. So, if you come to it on your own and didn't, you know, see somebody else do it, you know, sort of say invented but didn't. So, I don't know what to do with that. But that's the one I use a lot. Another one I like is the bottom kick, which is just because it's like woo, and it's so easy to do. That's the other thing I like about those. They don't really fail. So I mean, the one I probably use the most is top hop though. How does riding a unicycle compare to a bicycle? It's about half as hard. Actually, like, the thing about unicycling is it's always a lot of work because you can't coast. You're always pedaling. So you just, got to get used to that. But the seat's sore. The seat does get sore. But unicycling, that was something I did a lot. I used to unicycle and read a lot when I was younger, but just a little bit nowadays. Also, are you a gamer? If so, what games do you like? I'm not a gamer at all, actually. Sorry. But if I do play like 3 video games, and they're all the Lego games, like designed for 12-year-olds. So I'm pretty much like the uncoolest person ever as far as video games are concerned. But they're such a waste of time, I don't really feel bad. Anyway, thank you guys for your questions. Try talking for like 20 minutes solid, and it'll do things to you. It'll teach you something about how your voice works and doesn't work. So I'm about ready to wrap this here up, but thank you guys so much for your questions. I hope they were interesting to you. If they were not, I'm so sorry. Just wasted all this time. Take care.